Hey everyone, this is Ben with RegisteredNurseRN.com, and let's face it, nursing school can be quite challenging sometimes. And a lot of students will find that at some point in the program, they begin to struggle a little bit. Now, my wife and I have ran our website for a number of years now and our YouTube channel, and we've had a lot of comments and questions throughout the years from nursing students who have had some issues in nursing school. And of course, my wife has also precepted a lot of students, and so she's worked with a lot of new nurse graduates and so forth. And what we've noticed is that through the years, a lot of nursing students who are struggling tend to have the same characteristics or the same issues. And so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you 4 reasons nursing students struggle. Now, hopefully you can gain a little bit of insight if you're maybe falling victim to one of these 4 things that I'm going to talk about. So let's get started. Number 1 is indecision. Now, the problem with a lot of nursing students is that they have one foot in nursing school and the other foot on a banana peel. And what I mean by that is they are constantly sitting on the fence about their career. They're thinking, I don't know if I really want to become a nurse, but I'll just kind of stick with the program for now. Or they'll think, I don't know, I'm thinking about changing my major. I'll give it another semester. I don't know. And they're constantly going back and forth. And then if something happens, like they get a bad test score, or maybe they fail a class or something like that, then it gets even worse because then they really begin to question it. And the problem with indecision is that indecision divides your focus. And if you want to excel at anything in life, you have to have focus and concentration, because that is how you are going to succeed. And so what you have to do as a nursing student is that you have to make a commitment. You have to say to yourself, I'm in this program, I'm staying in this program, and I'm going to graduate from this program. And then you've got to do everything you can to make it happen. I love the story of the old-time ancient war heroes who would go and they would go to conquer a new land. And whenever they would go and they were going to try to take over some new territory, they would do something really interesting. A general would get all his troops together, they would get on a ship or several boats, and they would sail to a new territory. And then once they arrived, they would pull the boats to the shore, and the general would order all the men to get all the supplies and evacuate the boats. And they would do that, and then he would say, men, I want you to burn those boats. And they would take out fire and create a fire, and they would burn the boats, and huge flames would go up, and smoke would go up in a huge plume. And then the general would give a rousing speech that went something like this. He would say, men, we have nowhere we can go. Our boats have been burned. We only have 2 options. We can go out and we can fight and we can win this war, or we can die. That's the only 2 options we have. Now, when he said that, you'll be surprised at how many of those people in history, when they did that, they actually won that war, even if they had less men or whatever, because those men would fight the hardest they've ever fought before, because they had no other option. They had burned the boats. And sometimes that's what you have to do in nursing school. You have to burn the boat. You have to say, there is no other option for me. I'm not going to look at any other careers anymore. I'm in nursing school. I've made a commitment to become a nurse and to graduate from nursing school, and that's what I'm doing. I don't care if I have to retake a class. I don't care if I have to retake an exam or whatever. I'm getting through this program. So you have to burn the boats. All right, number 2 is a pessimistic attitude. You have to have a positive, optimistic attitude, and you cannot get caught up with this pessimistic, negative thinking pattern. And there are just some people like that in the world. They will point out the negative in everything. They are just negative people, pessimists. They walk into a room and flowers just wilt. And that's just how they are. And they're kind of like porcupines, really. They have their fine points, but they're difficult to be around, right? But you have to break that, because what negative thinking does ultimately is it robs you of energy, and it begins to create a cycle in your mind, a mindset for failure. And you're going to fail because you're going to think to yourself, oh, this class is hard. I'm not smart enough. I'm not going to make it. That test was ridiculously hard. This teacher's so boring. She's not a good teacher. Or whatever. And you're going to continue thinking those things until you work yourself up and make it 10 times harder on you. And I like what motivational speaker Zig Ziglar used to say. He said, positive thinking will help you do anything better than negative thinking will. And that's true. Negative thinking isn't going to help you get a higher score on your next exam. Negative thinking isn't going to help you succeed. It's just not. Positive thinking will help you, because if you think positively, let's say you failed an exam, you can say, man, I bombed this exam, That is not good. But what I can do is I can go back and I can work harder. At least I know how the teacher's exam works now. I know what to study, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to work harder and I'm going to ace this thing next time. That's the kind of attitude you have to have. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to have a positive self-image and a positive attitude when you're in nursing school or any profession or career or whatever for that matter. Let me just illustrate that by sharing a brief story with you. There were two companies, and both of them were trying to expand their business. So they decided to send salesmen out to scout out new territories and search for new clients to improve their business. So Company A sent a salesman to a remote third world country. The salesman arrived and he unpacked his bags, and then he went down to scout out the land. And as he went down, he went from village to village in this third world country. And he noticed that people in this place, they didn't even wear shoes. So he spent the whole day looking around, talking to the villagers and so forth. He finally got so frustrated. He went up, he called up his home office and he said, listen, this whole project is a disaster. No one here even wears shoes. I don't know why you all even sent me out here. This is a complete waste of time. I want you to get me on the first plane back because this is ridiculous. Click. Well, they sent a plane for him. He got on it. He returned to the company. He had a mediocre career as a shoe salesman the rest of his life. Then you have Company B. They also sent a salesman to the same third world country. That salesman got there, he unpacked his bags, and then he went down and he scouted out the area. He went from village to village, and he also noticed that the villagers didn't wear shoes. After spending the whole day, he ran back to his hotel room. He picked up the phone, he was out of breath, and he called the home office and he said, listen, I want you guys to send me every single pair of shoes and socks you can get your hands on. We're going to make a fortune. These people don't even know about shoes yet. He went on to become a multi-millionaire. See, you had the same location, two different people, two different mindsets. One person couldn't see the opportunity because he had a negative mindset, but the other person was a positive thinker. He saw opportunity. He became a millionaire. And that's how you have to be in nursing school. Look at the positive. You're always going to have those people who complain and gripe, and you may do this yourself, and we've all been guilty of it at some point, but you really have to work on creating a negative and a positive self-image and a positive thinking pattern so that you can say, I'm going to ace this. I'm going to make it through nursing school. If it's the last thing I do in my life, I am going to get through this program. Okay, number 3. Another area where nursing students will struggle is that they have poor organizational or time management skills, and those are both really important. And a lot of times what will happen is that nursing students don't have a system set up to organize all of their lecture classes and their clinicals, and so they get behind on assignments, they get behind on studying, they get overwhelmed, and they just lose track of time, and then next thing you know, they're jumbled up, it's a mess, they feel like they're in over their head and they don't know what they're doing. And it's really important to stay organized because, number one, no matter what career you go into, you really need to learn to be organized. It will help you tremendously, especially when you're juggling clinicals and all that. You're going to be able to keep up with exam dates. You're going to be able to set up time frames where you can study. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can use a planner. I would also often, when I was in college, I would have different folders for every single class. I would put the syllabus in that. I would check every folder each day, and I would also create like a schedule of what I need to keep up with. And my wife would do the same thing when she was in nursing school. And so that is really important. And with the time management, what that's going to help you do is that's going to help you accomplish so much more work in a shorter period of time. Now, I know that a lot of people don't really do these two things very well, and the good news is it's a skill and you can learn and you can improve. So in the future, we're going to have a video on each of those topics, hopefully in the coming weeks. We're doing a whole lot of series right now, so we're trying to get different types of videos out each week, but we're going to do some videos on this, and we're going to try to help you learn some strategies so that you can become more organized and you can manage your time better, get more studying in and so forth without becoming so overwhelmed. Okay, and then finally, last but not least, a lot of nursing students simply have poor study habits. And you have to study in nursing school. My wife studied a lot in nursing school and she succeeded because of that. And you're not born knowing this stuff, and it can be complicated. When you first look at it, it can be overwhelming, but if you learn to study and you learn to use techniques to memorize the information, you have to learn to take notes efficiently. You have to know what to read in your textbooks, how to read. When you know, a lot of colleges, they will put a mountain of reading assignments on you. You've got to learn how to just whiz through those textbooks and just learn to read the highlights and the main points. It's different than what you would read if you're reading like a novel for enjoyment. So we're also going to have videos on how to read, how to take notes efficiently, all the different ways you can study, these little mnemonic memory learning devices, ways that you can use rote memorization, flashcards. We're going to talk about all those ways that you can study for nursing school. That's coming up in the coming weeks. We're probably going to create a playlist called Nursing School Study Tips or something like that. We'll begin to put videos in that. I already have a video made on how to study for anatomy and physiology. You may want to check that out. And then my wife this week, she's going to make one, I believe, on pharmacology, some study tips for that. So we're going to be going through some general study tips, and then we're going to be going through individual classes in nursing school and giving you some strategies for those. So just to review really quickly, 4 reasons why nursing students struggle sometimes. Number 1, they have indecision and they haven't really fully committed themselves. Number 2, they get caught up in a pessimistic, negative attitude where they gripe and complain or feel like they're not smart enough, and you've got to have a positive self-image and learn to think positively. Number 3, they are not organized and they don't manage their time well, and that gets them behind, and then that amplifies everything. They begin to get overwhelmed very quickly. And then number 4, you simply have poor study habits, and you need to learn some new techniques so you can study more efficiently and you can retain the information in your mind longer so you can perform better on exams and so forth. So I hope this video helped you. Those are 4 reasons, and look out for that playlist. I'll try to put a link in the description below so you can keep track, and subscribe to our channel if you want to keep up with new videos. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.